come to save the day.
The Mighty House crew is on the job. This is
Mighty House.
All right, we're back, and today we're going to make up some data cables with some Cat 5 and a new tool from Klein Tools. What is that, Rich? It's a
pass-through connector.
These are way cool. So it's a VDV 226-110 crimping tool.
Well, that's the tool.
That's the tool, and it's a pass-through plug-ins. So we're going to get started with that in a minute. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and also click the bell, because that way you'll get notified next time we post something new. And if you've ever had a problem making up data cables, you want to plug your TV directly into your router, or you wanted to plug your computer directly into your router, you didn't want to use the Wi-Fi, how can you do that? You can go out and buy one of these pre-made ones like this, and it's pre-made, but you know that only goes so far. So what if you want a 10-footer, if you want a 15-footer, you can go buy that, or you can make one up, and that's what this crimping tool is going to do for us. So,
well, that and the connectors. Right.
So to get started on that, I'm going to steal some of your wire from over there. I'll just take the end. I've got these strippers that are on here. You just open it up, and you can set the...
But that's not my Klein.
No, that's not your Klein. But this is how I strip the end to get to the wires exposed. So, and then I just
put it...
And then I just take this...
put it in my Klein.
Oh, you
I
can
just
do
give it a little twist.
Yeah, see?
Get out of here. Already done.
See, there. Now, so I take that off, and then I pull that. So there. Now I've got my end done.
Okay, now I'm actually, this is one of the things with the new Klein pass-through.
Yeah.
Is when you strip these, you really can't strip too much off, because what it does, it gives you working room.
Got it.
So then the other thing I need to do is I do need to get rid of this annoying tracer.
Oh, the string?
Yeah, they call it a tracer, but...
So, well, you know what that's for, right? So if you
that's
want
for tangling everything up and messing up the works. No, it gives strength to the whole thing, so if you're tugging on it, it's only going to give so much.
But you can also pull back on this. If you take your pliers and you pull back, you can strip more off. And it cuts the casing.
Well, that's probably why they call it a tracer. It has less to do with what I was thinking.
Yeah,
that
so
makes more sense.
I was just trying to do, I don't have enough here. But I got, if I had my Klein lineman's, I could do that. Here, maybe. Let me go to the MacGyver real quick.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay. But that's how you, that's
So
what
now I got to untwist, I have to untwist my pairs.
Okay. So let's talk about this real quick. We have to do a certain wiring order, don't we there, Sonar?
We sure do.
Okay, so we're going to bring in Sonar because he's our technical expert when it comes to this wiring thing. We can't just put willy-nilly all the wires in the ends.
Well, you can, as long as they match both ends.
So if you do willy-nilly on both ends,
exactly,
it'll be okay.
You have to
but it has to be the same willy and nilly at the two ends.
Yeah, either
you can't have willy at one end and nilly at the other. It has to be willy-nilly at both ends.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the first willy is the T568A.
Okay.
And that's what, I mean, everybody's got their own standards or whatever. I mean, you go and look it up and say, because we've all do it every single time. I've made hundreds of thousands of these things, and I still look up the code every time.
Right.
And that's because they're standard.
Well, it's because they're all different. But then even look at what you got on your chart. Green, white connected to DD plus. Green is connected to DD minus. Brown, RD plus. But look, you got 4 of my 8 pairs that are unused.
Exactly. That's where your power comes in, so you can actually use low voltage power to come through these. That's why they're braided pairs, so that you can cut down on all of the interference that you would have pushing anything through there.
Right. And
go ahead.
And we're using a Cat 6, a Cat 5, Cat 6 cable.
Exactly.
I have a Cat 6, which is also only adds to the confusion. So I got my new Klein tool.
Crimper,
stripper, finishing the job thingy.
right?
And I'm looking at all the numbers and wiring patterns that are printed on the labels, and none of them say RE6, or none of them say Cat 6.
Correct.
No, they would say RJ.
Yeah, it does say.
No, none of them say Cat 6.
No, they do not.
No.
So I've got a whole roll of Cat 6 wire that I don't even know how I'm supposed to put my color codes together.
But
So you just showed me was it 568A or whatever?
Right. So you've got
T568A.
right.
But everything I just ran into was all 568B.
Yes.
Correct.
Because your cat, the category of your Cat 5s, Cat 6, is the speed of your data.
Okay.
As your cable can handle those larger speeds without melting, is really what they're after with the category. Now, as far as your wires go, you will always use the same. What is it? The USOC or something like that. Universal Service Ordering Code.
Okay.
And what keeps all of our RJs, our RJ 45s, our RJ 11s, our RJ 14s, whatever they are.
Got
your
it.
standard plastic end. Now the Cat 6.
The clippy end.
Exactly. That's the clip. That's the one that goes into the machine.
Yeah, right.
The reason I get confused is I can make my doorbell work with this. I can get my garage door opener to work with this.
Yeah, because they're wires.
I can get phone calls from them.
Oh yeah.
I actually use them.
And then when the
for
phone
radio.
company shows up, they go, who the hell wired this?
Right. Exactly.
Well, I actually use them for radio to push low voltage audio across the building.
Yep.
So now I've got, what is it, 8 braided pairs, 4
Right.
braided pairs right there. That's 4
Right.
channels that are coming to that destination over there.
Right. So on the Klein tool.
Ron, how'd you make out? You got them all separated and looking good?
No. Can you give an overhead shot real
Yeah.
quick of this?
Overhead.
So there you go. So you can see right on here, they give you all the different wiring schematics and different options. You've got your phone, your number, your four conductor phone ones, and then you've got 3 different ones for your Cat 5, depending on what you want to do.
Because that crimper takes not just the RJ45s,
Right.
but you can also crimp the 11s and
Correct.
14s as well.
Correct. And it's got both of them in the end right here. So you can do that. And then on here, it also, what Rich was doing was he was cutting and stripping using this part right here. As you squeeze this down, that blade comes through there. So it'll strip it. And then,
So I use the
and cut it.
stripper to get a couple, 2.5 inches of wire exposed.
Right.
But then I unbraid everything and straighten them as best I can.
Okay.
And then I hit them babies one more time with the cutter so that now they're all pretty even.
Yeah, flat top.
Right. Okay.
Flat
So
top.
you got to straighten.
But they
up.
don't need to be on a pass-through connector.
Right. And I think that's where we're going with this. So at some point, I've got my old crimpers out, and so now I'm straightening all these wires out to get the pigtail squigglies off of it, so that they can be straight.
See, you're still messing with that, and I'm already laying out my pairs.
See?
Because we're doing the T568B.
Oh, you're doing a
So I
B?
need the orange-white,
Okay.
then I need the green-white, or I'm sorry, orange-white, orange, green-white, which, again, sir, if you can help me, I have no idea why they separated the pairs. It would be so much easier if they just said, do the color white, then the solid color, but no, we have to throw this thing in the mix. I got green, white, then blue, white, then green.
So you're doing a green tracer, and you go left to right as the clippy part goes down.
Yeah, the clippy part faces down.
Okay, so then we're going to start
So we're
off-
doing the bottom left corner. We're not doing that other stuff.
Yeah, because there's different cables for it because the way that the computers communicate. Right now, standard computer, you plug one end to the computer, the other end goes into a router.
Right.
And then that router handles all the other communications that it needs.
Right.
You realize none of this means anything more than Microsoft versus Apple.
Well, kind of. That's what A and B is. A is the old wiring scheme, and B is more American standard now. And what these crossover cables are, that's over to the right of the other wiring, that's a cable that you don't need an actual router for the computers to talk to each other. So what you were saying before, Rich, about the TD versus RD, well, you have transmit and receive. So what you're doing when you change those cables and make that crossover cable, I am now putting a transmit cable into where a receive should be on the other side. And that's what they mean by crossover. You're crossing the the transmit and receive so that the computers can then talk down the same line. We've all plugged those cables into two computers and said, well, why don't they talk to each other? That's because there's no router in the middle, because the router is what switches your transmit and receive.
Got it. Okay, so let's lay this out.
Okay, so
We've got this
what
overhead.
connector thingy, you're still using a Klein connector.
No.
But I have the shielded cable version that has the crimpy sleeve on the end.
Correct. And I've just got the older style with that. That's not a pass-through. And so let's just lay this out real quick. I'm doing the 568A. So I've got the white with the green tracer, solid green. Then I've got the white with the orange tracer, solid blue. White with the blue tracer, solid orange. And then white with the brown tracer, solid brown. And that's the standard layout
Exactly.
that we would normally use. So now, in my case, I'm using the older plugs here. So in order for me to get these all in there, I've got to do it all at once, and I've got to get them all in there directly, all at the same time. And if one falls out, then it's no good.
And they're trying to
Okay,
cross
so,
back over.
and I'm telling you, with the pass-through connector,
Say again?
I've got all my wires, and I'm doing 568B, because that's what my whole house was wired for.
Okay.
So, but here's the thing, same thing. You can't see it on mine, I can't really close up. But I have my wires all laying there. They're all stripped, they're all straight. And in theory, I should be able to push them straight in, directly into those funnels.
Right.
And I could tell you right now, there's a lot of phone guys laughing at me right now, or low voltage guys laughing. No, I can't do it. So what I've been doing is I take two at a time.
Okay.
So I am clipped down, orange, white, orange. I can get those first two, look at that, right in there. I bend them over.
Okay.
Then I go ahead and I'm taking my green, white, and again I have the blue next to that.
Okay. Solid blue.
Yep.
So you got white with the green.
And I can
tracer
take
and then
those
solid
two,
blue.
and
Yeah.
I can push those right through the next two holes. It's weird. It's easier to control two at a time. If you get good at this, I imagine you can do this
But see-
all day and be good.
The older style is not a pass-through, so you cannot do that because you put
No, you just all got to be lined up. So even though I'm taking longer because I'm not pushing 8 wires through, but by doing my pairs, it's also keeping me closer on what I need to be, because now I'm on a blue, white, and a green.
right.
Well, you're only
those are
we're only faster
blue,
if we
white,
get it
green.
right the first time.
Right.
It's going to take us 7 times before we get it actually in there all at once.
Because as they go in, they jump around. Let's get an overhead
yeah.
view
Let
of
me
this.
get this
See if
table.
my skull's going to be in the way. No, it's not. Okay, good. So I'm going to stick all these in there. They all have to go in at the same time. And then we got to find the slot for them.
Yeah, because they're going to be jumping slots. They're going to be trying to cross back over.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, no, and this gets crazy. So now I got my last two are my brown, white, and brown. And again, just by doing this in pairs, and I learned this over the last few weeks when I had to, I've been in my house wiring up a bunch of stuff. So I got the brown, white in there. My last one to get in there is my brown, and I'm done with wiring this thing. But let me explain what's really great about the pass-through. All right, got my last wire in there.
Okay.
So I bend them all down
Oh, did you finally do it, Ron?
over the face.
I got it. But now look at that. So now I'm pushed in. And the other thing is, once I got all my wires done, then I took a pair of scissors and I cut it, because these crimpers, they have got cutters on, but it doesn't cut them all straight. So I use a pair of scissors. But
Okay, so
now look can go back.
are you
to the
sure you
other-
got all your colors in the right place?
I believe so. And I've got a tester to test that. But see what I'm left
Okay,
with
but
here?
if you test it and it's negative, if you're not right, you got to cut the end off and do it again.
Correct.
Yeah, and you just wasted another
A
one.
connector. Okay, so let me show you the nice thing about this.
See? Now,
So mine doesn't look pretty yet, right? Because I got all this excess wire.
but you can slide yours down over the end.
Exactly.
But no, what's even better yet is I've got all this excess wire sticking out.
Right?
Orange, white, orange,
Oh, you can count and make
Green,
sure you got
white.
it correct.
blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, brown. Now that I know I'm correct, I take that connector and I just start pulling it down and taking in my excess wire. And that's what I actually liked about this. They're a pain. No matter what, it's a pain, right? Look at that. So I know that my color combinations are absolutely correct.
Yep, you can count it. See, now I have to sit here and eyeball this thing, and I'm left with this excess between the sheathing and then the wire sticking out. If I want to get that all perfect, I've got to take this back off, cut it down, and keep working it until I get it all the way to the end.
Now, the other thing I do is I twist the wires that are sticking out, I twist them together now. Why? Because I'm not an electrician. You guys leave your wire laying all over the damn place.
Right.
Me, personally, I like just trimming it off and not having to pick it up. So you slide it in the end of the Klein crimp tool, and watch this. Pinches my wires, cuts off my excess, and that connector is done.
And see, now I'm going to slide this in here. Let me see if I can get this in here. You going to go? Nope. Let's go this way. Nope. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now I crimped that in there. So now that's on there. But I'm left with this excess. So then what I normally do is instead of trying to crimp that all the way down and get it perfect, I end up using some heat shrink tubing, and I'll do some heat shrink tubing over that to seal that up. But I mean, that takes me more time. Rich is done. His ends fitted perfectly.
And they're gorgeous. That's the other thing is.
Well, and while you were screwing around, I just did the other end.
Oh, get out of here. Oh, he's already done.
Yeah, look, here I am, crimping the other end. There goes it. Watch this. Twist those wires together, little cut, and those go in the garbage can beautifully.
Okay, so now I'm going to do this again. So I've got the white with a green tracer, green, orange or white with an orange tracer, solid blue, white with the blue tracer, solid orange, white with the brown tracer, solid brown.
And try to line up your sheathing. See if you can line up your sheathing.
Oh,
Cut it short enough to line up with your sheathing.
There's no way.
Come on, bud.
There is just no way.
Come on, it's 1/4 inch. You can do it.
It's yeah.
Right?
So, but the problem is they're twisted in here, and as you get to the bottom, they're all twisted together, which makes it even harder.
They're thicker. So you know that little tab that's on the back of it?
Yeah.
That's what's supposed to crimp in your sheathing. So that's how small, that's how tight that you need to make that.
See, look at that. I've got to cut that off all the way back to
Exactly.
here.
You're looking at about 1/4 inch, if not less.
All right, I'm going to try it.
You're going to need. You got it.
There we go. So I cut them all off straight. Look at now they're even
Look how
twisted.
tiny that is. Yep.
Now it's even worse. There's no way you're getting those in there.
Now you're working IT.
No, I think it's from practice because I've seen guys do it.
Yeah.
But
and I sit there like, how the hell did you do that? But I think it's like anything; it takes practice.
It is.
so I got
they're twisting on you.
All right. Now
Rich
the
is
big
over
thing
here
is I
making
take
two
out my
cables.
Klein tool.
Again, Rich is using the Klein tool VDV 226-110. I'm looking at mine and trying to use the older one that I used to have, and I mean the hours that he is saving.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, but now what I'm using is my Klein tool VDV 526-100 tester.
Oh, you've got the okay.
The tests are already out.
Now let's see.
And I'm greenlit. My cable is good.
Okay, so
It's not
now
cross-wired, it's not open.
let me use my tester here. Let's see if I've got
Because
this.
technically all this is a continuity tester.
Correct.
Yeah.
But it's doing all 8 wires at one time.
I've got a miswire somewhere,
Uh-oh.
but if I wiggle it, it works.
Well, that would scare me even more because now you're not sure what's going to happen.
So now I got to take this apart, figure out which miswire it is, and Rich is,
He's done.
he's done.
He's already watching Netflix.
He's plugged in. Yep.
Exactly.
Okay, see, there you go.
That's it.
What more of an example do you want? That if you're going to start putting these data cables together and you're going to be making your own runs, you really need to use the Klein tool Crimper product here. It gives you the wire schematics on here. You can do telephone and your RJ46, RJ45s. Gives you all the different crimpers.
How many tools did you have to use instead of that?
I had my stripper ones.
Stripper, yeah.
And then I had these crimpers.
And then you had your scissors.
And then, I needed my scissors too. Look at that. That's what I used before, and now you can just use one of those.
Your magnifying glass to see.
The idea that he can pull those through and double check to make sure it's wired correctly.
I can double check it before I actually crimp it. If there was something showing if I could just visualize, the wires or color codes wrong.
Right.
I could pull those wires out, twist them, switch them, whatever.
Individually, you could pull
But I think what's really nice too is the end when you trim them. It does such a nice job. It's such a clean cut. So, yeah, no, it works nice. So and then as far as buying this stuff for my house, I needed to wire my desktop computer back to my router. I did not want my desktop that I use for all of my stuff on a Wi-Fi network.
Right.
No matter what. I don't care what you think your firewall is. Firewall is wonderful, but I just wanted my computer hardwired.
Yep.
Then I have a simple firewall where it's like, unless you use my password or whatever, you can't get in it, period. Done.
Yep.
Well, that sounded like a challenge. There's plenty of hackers out there, I'm sure, could figure it out. But it wasn't really a challenge, guys, just saying.
Just saying. So, you probably paid less for the box of wire that you needed and your crimpers than you did having to go buy all those different lengths.
Well, so what I ended up, absolutely. So I managed to find a wire, a 100-footer, that I knew was going to be more than enough, and of course it had 2 pre-made ends on it.
Sure.
So I just ran it all the way to my computer, got rid of my slack, made sure everything was good, no kinks and all that, because if you kink it, it just stops the electric, just like your garden hose.
Sure.
So I made sure it was all straight, and then I just cut it off and put a new connector on it.
Right.
I think I had 20 feet left over. We can't buy an 80-footer.
Right.
So I don't want to leave 20 feet rolled in the attic. So I literally made a whole bunch of 3-foot patch cables, and all of my TVs now are connected directly to the internet connections that were behind the TVs.
Yep.
So even though my TVs are Wi-Fi enabled, I'm not burning up all that Wi-Fi. Now, everybody and my friends, your phone, your laptop, whatever, if you're at my house, you can stream whatever you want on your phone and all that, because we've gotten rid of half of our usage.
Right. So again, this is the Klein Tool VDV 226-110 crimping tool, the most awesomest crimping tool you can come up with. And then what's your tester that you're using there, Rich?
My tester?
Yep.
Is the VDV.
Yep.
526-100.
Okay.
Now, one of the things people may not realize, we do promote Klein tools. They back us pretty good. You can only buy these at supply houses or the Home Depot.
Yep.
So it's nice you can go to Home Depot. I mean, if you don't have an electrical supply house, they can be intimidating. But the Home Depot, and you will not find these in the tool room at the Home Depot.
No.
You'll typically only find them in the electrical department.
Correct.
And don't get us wrong. You're going to pay for Klein tools. They're going to be more money than, somebody else's typically.
Right.
Pliers or, we call them Klein's wire cutters. But the quality's there.
Yes. It's there. It's a great product. Make sure you use it. Click that subscribe button and click the bell if you like this stuff. We do tool reviews, all kinds of different things, and we had a good time with this one. So Rich just spanked my butt putting these connectors together. Because I got to go back and fix this one now. So I don't know what's wrong with it.
And now your cable's
Well,
shorter.
that's the crazy part. You got to go back and fix it, because what people don't realize too, and we didn't talk about it, the little copper thingies in here. When you do the trim, it pushes those little copper thingies into the wires, and that's now how you have all your connectors, and that's also, they'll come apart.
Right.
So, yeah, it's pretty
beautiful.
cool.
All right. With that, we're going to say keep it square and level.
Until next time.
Next time.
All right, we're going to go watch some TV on Rich's TV because his is working.
Well, it's definitely faster.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, they're all working. They're cranking.
All right, Kev got more of this.
All right, throw these on the floor. I got 2 more cables made up for my next stuff I purchased.